Hello, namaste, and welcome. Hello, namaste, and welcome to this channel. So, here today we are going to talk on the topic of research philosophy, or let's say philosophy of research. And before we deal this topic, I would like to share something to you. Most of the time, people say that there are, philosophy of research. For example, positivism, interpretivism, and critical theories, pragmatism, and positivism. So, which philosophy actually guides your research? How do you make connection in your research with that particular type of philosophy? Do you have really a clear-cut idea about those philosophies, and can you really connect them or make kind of bridge with your thesis or your research to that philosophy? This is a very genuine questions and topic that we need to understand when we actually go for the this philosophy of research. Rather than giving the definition, I would like to give you one example through which you can actually understand what are the those philosophies. Those philosophies actually are the perspectives. You can say the viewpoints or standpoints, old view, right? So they try to see the same thing or event from one important standpoint from one corner. So even though the content or topic for the research, the problem for the research is the same, on the basis of the guiding philosophical guidelines and philosophical perspectives, you might go through the entire research process in a different way. Without any delay, let me give you one example. So, most of the time in social science research, what we do is gender inequality in the workplace. If somebody is going to, carry out the research on that very topic, so which philosophical guidelines he or she actually, adopts or utilizes in his research studies is a main question. Let's go through the positivism. If you are going to carry out the research of this very topic, that is the gender inequality in the workplace from positivist point of view, what you would focus on the obviously on the quantitative data like the statistics on gender pay gaps. So regarding, you will see the salary or payments gap in terms of the gender at one hand, and you will also look for the rate of the promotions inside the organizations. And whenever there is the opportunity of the leadership roles, so obviously you will check the representation of in leadership roles on the basis of male and female and other similar type of features and qualities that you check. That is, you make a kind of measurement indicators, so that you would analyze the numbers and identify the patterns and correlation, whether the variables are related with each other or not. That is very important to see through the positivist point of view. So if you are really applying the positivist philosophy to your research, then your research is adopting the scientific methods. For example, all of them are scientific method, but the methodologies and the analysis that the natural science actually does in its field. So even the social science, you can brought the idea of the natural science or empiricism to to understand the variables and their relationship and correlation from quantitative point of view, on the basis of which. But if you are just adopting interpretivism, what you will do is you will this approach actually involves exploring personal experiences of individuals in the workplace. How do people actually think, understand, and experience that inequality, gender inequality or gender discrimination, let's say. You might conduct interviews or focus group to understand how employees perceive gender related challenges. Moreover, the workplace culture and personal narratives of bias and empowerment. So, what do people think and say, and their understanding regarding the, bias or empowerment inside the organization? What sort of cultural patterns and their workplace cultures and their gender related challenges? How do they perceive and understand, and what they really articulate it. So that is the main concern of the interpretivism. So obviously you will carry out the data by using focus group discussion and interviews and key informants and so on. Next one is critical theory. Critical theory or critical research theory, research philosophy is somehow different with the positivism, really, and to some extent it is also different than the interpretivism. For example, through the critical theory, the perspectives of the critical theory, what you do is you would examine how societal structures, the structures that are prevalent in a society, how do they impact, what about the power dynamics and historical context contribute to gender inequality. So there is already the mechanism, structures and context through which we have gender inequality. If you think that way and if you carry out your research guiding by this sort of philosophy or worldly view, let's say standpoints, that you are going through the perspectives of the critical theory, you would look at how institutional policies, there are different types of institutional policies, cultural norms, and economic systems. They really create a kind of situation where you have gender discriminations and marginalization. So, critical philosophy actually intends not only to describe the social entity or realities, but try to bring some sort of social change also through this theory. And then next one is pragmatism. So on the basis of pragmatism research philosophy, what you focus in from this perspective, the focus would be on finding practical solution. What is going on in the inside the institutions, a group of the people in a cultures or any organizations. So you might combine both qualitative or quantitative data to design intervention like policy changes, training programs, or work-based initiatives, and the aimed at reducing gender uh, inequalities or disparities. So that is to say that you know uh, you will try your best to bring different types of assumptions and ideas, and you really look through the real ground implication and its work, whether it can be really handle the situation or not. And the final one is postmodernism. These perspectives would obviously raise the questions against the very concept of gender and identity. It would explore how different discourses and cultural narratives, shape our understanding of gender, and how multiple, sometimes conflicting perspectives can coexist. In this way, there are five research philosophies: positivism, interpretivism, and critical theory, pragmatism, and postmodernism. They really have the assumption to look the things, event, social reality, and entity from different perspectives with the different underlying beliefs and principles. So what we do is, by bringing all these philosophies together, we get a comprehensive view of gender inequality that includes, obviously, that includes measurable data is for the positivist, and the personal experience is for the what we say, that is interpretivist vision, and structural analysis, that is the part of the critical theory, and practical intervention, that is pragmatism, and critical questioning of dominant narratives, what people think, understand, and what sort of narratives is there between and among the people, so which is obviously dominant. So postmodernism actually raises the questions to that dominant narratives and so on. I hope I tried my best to make the concept clear through the examples how these five philosophies actually look at one entity, one social entity, or events, or social realities. Here, I would like to go through another examples from the academia in schools or college. So, how do we research? How do we carry out a research on the topic of student achievement? If that title is there, so obviously if you wear the glass of positivism, then what you focus on the objective data. For instance, for example, you would collect test scores. If you are going to look the student achievements from the point of view of positivism, then what you do is you collect the test scores of different semesters, and midterms, and in semester in examinations. You will also go through the student attendance record and so many other measurable data. For example, regularity of the students, punctuality, and meeting the deadlines of submitting assignments and project work, and so on. So this is how the positivist theory of research actually intends to look the that social reality. For example, the students' achievements. The goal would be to find patterns. The main goal of this positivist theory is to find patterns, correlations, obviously, and cause and effect relationship through statistical analysis. So it tries to find out the patterns, correlation between the variables, and also sometimes cause and effect relationship. But there is always the statistical analysis. So if your thesis, your research is governed by this kind of features and qualities, then you are adopting positivist research philosophy. And interpretivism. So for the interpretivisms, you are obviously looking at the student achievements. So what you do through this approach is you would explore students' personal experiences and perspective. For example, you might conduct interviews and focus group to understand how students feels about their learning, about their learning environment, and what motivates them in their learning, and what they do they really think about their achievements. So are they really satisfied, or what are the causes if not? And that's the way we try to uncover the hidden realities or insights about the student achievement from the student's point of view. In If you are doing some sort of things like this in your research, then you are guided by interpretivism research philosophy. There is another one which is quite interesting, that is the critical theory research philosophy. So what it does is it really, in the very beginning, it does not care that much to the positivism. Somehow it looks some of the ideas of interpretivism, but it is different than that also. So the critical theory perspective would examine how social inequalities like socioeconomic status, race, or gender, they really impact students' achievements. It might look at how systematic power structure influence educational opportunities and outcomes. So obviously, the outcomes is based on the opportunities, and that opportunities is directly influenced by the power dynamics, economic systems, and organizational policies, and so many things. So race, gender, culture, religion, and those things. So critical theory always raises the questions, regarding all those things and try to bring some new ideas through that research and explore the things from that research. After that, there is the pragmatism, and if you are looking the student achievement from the pragmatic standpoint, you would combine different methods to find what works best in improving educational outcomes. That means, you might blend qualitative or quantitative insights or different types of models and principles to create a kind of practical solutions and interventions. Your main target through this pragmatism is just to to identify the problem and try to find out the solution to that problem. And it does not confine to any particular kind of theories and rules and policies. Rather, it actually happens when the things actually happens in the ground, in the real field. After that, there is the research philosophy, which is postmodernism, and that would questions the main objective of postmodernism is to ask the questions about the very notion of success and education in success and knowledge in education. It might explore how different narratives and perspectives shape what we consider to be academic success. So achievement of the students or academic achievements also might have different perspective to understand uh, grade or pass rate or success rate of the students is not sufficient. What the major narratives has been developed to identify or to define the concept of success in our societies and in the academia. So postmodern modernism or postmodernist, philosophers, or let's say the philosophy for your research, it gives you guidelines to raise the questions about the let's say universal type of understanding and thinking towards the eastern achievements. We can say that there are so many incidents and situations where even though they have moderate type of educational achievement in their grade and mark sheet, but they have done very good job in their life and they have got the success in their life. So this is not the only way to define the success of the students. Only the mark sheet or grades cannot actually give you the proper platform where from where you can say this is the good success or academic achievement. In this way, I gave you two examples. One is gender inequality in the workplace. Another is the student achievements analysis by your research. So, how these all five, research philosophies are governed, can govern the same topic. So, uh, it's your choice which research philosophy you really want to adopt or apply to your research on the basis of your research questions, statement of the problems, objectives, and your overall research design. Yes, so in case of this education achievements, what we do is by integrating all these philosophies, you get a richer, more, nuanced, understanding of education that considers data, personal experiences, social context, practical solution, and multiple perspectives. Data means positivism, personal experience means interpretivism, social context means obviously criticism, critical theory, and practical solution means pragmatism, and the multiple perspectives means postmodernism. Thank you very much. So I tried my best to bring all those research philosophies to one examples, that is the gender inequality in a workplace, and this is the education achievements. I hope you have got some idea about this, and this is very important, mainly for the higher level students who are doing their research degrees in the universities, because their theses and their research papers should be governed by this, these philosophies. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and I'll come with another, very important topic with an important topic. So see you until then. Thank you very much. Have a great time.